Okay, hello again. The next account we're going to move on to is the revaluation reserve account. And again, we're on the 2012 question. So the revaluation reserve account is an account that is only opened if a revaluation is done and remains open then up until all of those assets that you may have revalued along the line have been disposed of. Okay, so the revaluation reserve account, it acts like a liability account in that when it's increasing, you put items on the credit side. When it's decreasing, you put items on the debit side. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to look in our two main accounts that we've done already, our land and buildings and our provision for depreciation account, and see if there are any entries which say revaluation reserve, in which case then we will bring those entries and we will put them into the opposite side of the revaluation reserve account, which is going to be this side, and we'll give it an entry of, for instance, if the entry that we're putting in here comes from the land and buildings account, we'll say land and buildings. If it comes from the provision for depreciation account, we'll say provision for depreciation. So we must do this chronologically, though. We can't just throw all our entries in here in one go. Unlike the other accounts that we've done previously, like the, for instance, the land and buildings account where we balanced after every year. With the revaluation reserve account, you're allowed to just put all of your different years in together, but in chronological order, as you'll see in a moment. So the first revaluation that occurred was in 2007. Okay, so we look at the 2007 entries for the land and buildings account and for the provision for depreciation account. And in the land and buildings account, we have the first 2007 revaluation reserve 100,000. So let's put that in. Remember, opposite side. Whoops. First of the first 07 came from the land and buildings account. Now, I would advise you write land and buildings to make this video shorter. I'm putting in L and B. 100,000. Okay, now from that revaluation though, something else happened. So the cost of our land and buildings went up by 100,000. We can see it went from 360 plus 240, which is 600,000. It went up to 700,000. So the land and buildings account, the cost part of it, went up by 100,000. But also our depreciation was set back to zero. So we gained 100,000 in our land and buildings account. And if you like, we kind of gained all that depreciation back as well, because if you think of depreciation sort of like a minus, then if you set it back to zero, you're going from a minus to zero, you're going upwards. So you're gaining value there as well. So if we look at the depreciation account, which is on the back of this, we see revaluation reserve 28,800, setting that amount back to zero. And so again, opposite side, 28,800, and it's from the provision for depreciation account. So provision depreciation account. Okay, again, I won't bother putting the date in again because it's the same date. The next time we had revaluation